Hey everyone, welcome to Sports Ball Gaming. I'm Popo, and today we're going to be interviewing Michael Mendheim of Mutant Football League and the entire Mutant League franchise. How you doing, Michael?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty great, pretty great. Been a busy weekend though, not as busy as yours from my here.
My weekends are always insane, but we're getting ready for GDC, so it's more crazy than usual.
hmm
This should actually be the slow time for me since football season's over.
Okay, so I have a quick question. In one interview you had, I remember you mentioning that you started out in the games industry by doing cover art for video games. What got you interested in drawing?
I always loved drawing. I was always good at it. When I originally started my career, I went to Art Center College of Design in Pasadena. It's one of the top art schools. I was learning design and illustration at that school. So I started out doing a lot of advertising type of illustration work. We were doing the covers for like Voltron and Transformer toys, and a lot of like college beer ads for Miller beer and whatnot. And then eventually I started transitioning into doing box cover art for video games. I think it was because of my Transformers work, and I really enjoyed it. So some of the early covers I did were like for Cyberball and Spy Hunter and games like that. And eventually doing that got me doing some character design, because back in those days they didn't have development teams were very small. Like a lot of times the engineer would do a lot of pixel art for the game, or they just have one artist. So I started doing some character design, and then I got an opportunity to actually do a design on a game. It was an Addams Family license for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I also did the box cover illustration for that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. A really good, a start of beginnings for the career of Michael Mendheim. So I have another question. In '93, Mutant League was a big hit. Even had Mutant League Hockey. Then later on, there was a TV adaptation of the franchise. So what was it like having your own cartoon and even merchandise and stuff?
It was crazy. It was such an exciting time to have that happen. And what was really cool about the show, well, first off, back at that time, that didn't happen a lot. So Electronic Arts has never had a show based on one of their properties, and I originally did the game for Electronic Arts, so it was super exciting. The show was really unique in the fact that it had some really excellent writers that touched on a lot of subjects. For a Saturday morning cartoon show, it was kind of unheard of at that time, because they were touching on players using drugs like steroids. They were touching on gay athletes and issues like that, which was, it just wasn't done at that time.
The Mutant League, sports play the mutant way. Today, Bones Justice, Sputer, and Razor Kid challenge the evil KT Slayer. Are you ready for some football? Here's the first play.
It's a handoff.
Here's Razor's kickoff. It's blocked by Slayer.
Yes! Someone's roughing the kicker. Time for your backup head.
And Bones is
It's
back.
the bone cycle.
He throws long. Touchdown. Slammin' Savage Sports, the Mutant League.
It's not the wings.
New Mutant League sports figures and Bone Cycle, each sold separately.
And as far as the toys were concerned, the toys were they were kind of cheapo. They weren't as exciting or as interesting as if I was designing the toys they would be, but it was still amazing to walk into like Toys R Us back in the day and see your characters up there on the wall. So it was really cool.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool, man. I would really love to have something like that happen to me one day. But
You
yeah,
are slowly killing all of my running backs here.
oh man, yeah, so much bloodbath.
What level have you chosen to play on today?
It's normal, and the Carnage should be on Massacre.
Okay. All right, well, it's quite a massacre here.
Yep. So speaking of talking on big issues, I noticed within the lore of Mutant Football League, there's a lot of interesting things that that happen after the apocalypse, like big corporations kind of taking over the whole world, global warming and oil drilling, causing demons from hell to appearing and stuff like that. So what ran through your mind when it came to coming up with ideas like that? Was that more of a political message, or is it just something that was just like, that seems like a good prediction of the future?
Well, everything we do with Mutant Football League is always about parody, but we do want to touch on all issues, right? So we make fun of like professional sports, we make fun of pop culture, we make fun of video games, we make fun of politics. We have a unique opportunity with Mutant Football League to do those types of things, which you can't do in normal licensed sports games. So we have the opportunity to really highlight that. And we figured, like, how did the world get to be the way it is? Why are these guys fighting now? Well, we just, we figured it was going to be set in the post-apocalypse. So we wanted to play off a lot of political themes, and one is obviously global warming. The other is fear of alien immigration. So that we put all of these types of issues into the game and kind of make our own funny little statements on how kind of ridiculous it all is. And but we deliver all of those messages in kind of a fun, humorous way, so nothing's ever too heavy.
So, is Earth building a force field to keep the criminal aliens out?
Well, as you can tell, when the aliens score and you get our little pop-up messages, there's always talks about the alien immigration and this and that going on. We also have, in Dynasty, when you play Dynasty, we put in player crisis events. So the player crisis events gave us an interesting opportunity to play off of real NFL professional sports situations where players get into trouble for whatever reason, whether it is spousal abuse or drug abuse or steroids or just doing something really stupid. And we put all kinds of crazy player crisis events in our Dynasty mode where the player has to choose between paying some ridiculous sum of money to get his player out of the legal system and back onto the field, or you just have to pay money and there's nothing you can do about it and you end up losing your player for a few games. And the writers who kind of come up with these things, I just let them loose, and they just come up with the most outrageous, crazy concepts, and obviously I review them all, but 90% of what is submitted is just golden, and I approve most of it unless there's a problem or it's just completely doesn't fit in with the theme of the game. But we try to throw that in every chance we get, and whether you're right-leaning or left-leaning or in the center, I mean, we poke fun of everybody in the product. So.
Oh yeah, did you already press X for the show?
I'm sorry, I'm absolutely sitting here talking, and
it's no problem. It's no problem. I mean, I could listen all day just listening to
the whole
stories.
Talking, playing thing is not like one of my strong suits, but here we go.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. I mean, I don't know how you could talk and play like the halftime mini game.
Well, just talk, like if we're just talking and doing smack talk to each other while we're playing this game, that's completely different than talking about, I gotta think, right, about my past or specific times of when something was great. It's just completely different. And you were just killing me here in the halftime show.
Oh yeah, I've done it so many times to where it's like, I still can't get to 1,000 though, like some of the other guys can though. But yeah, how about I look into my notes, ask another question. How was Digital Dreams Entertainment formed?
So when I always start up companies when I'm have like a new project. So when I did a graphic novel called Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, I started up a company, an LLC, just to put that within. You always want to have an LLC for any projects that you're doing, just to protect yourself individually. So my business partner, Maxim Novikov, who actually runs our product development, he runs the development team in Kiev. We put together Digital Dreams Entertainment to develop the project, and we invested a lot of our own personal money to get the project up and going, and we also ran a Kickstarter campaign that helped us complete the project. And so Digital Dreams was set up specifically for Mutant Football League, but we actually released a product under the Digital Dreams name, which was a dinosaur game on Steam called Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter. That was our actual first project in Digital Dreams. And then Mutant Football League came about 2 years after we released that.
Oh, so what was it like working on that dinosaurs game? Because I've only seen it on Steam like maybe once or twice when browsing, but what was it like working on that game as your first game?
So I didn't, I helped that project get put onto Steam, but I really wasn't like the designer on that project. That was more Maxim's team and those guys that did that project. I just helped produce it at the end and get the project out. But it is a fan favorite. Carnivores is a retro game that came out many years ago on the PC. It has a loyal community following. And we worked with the creator and the license holder of that product to do Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter. And we're going to continue, hopefully, making Carnivore's games as well as Mutant Football Leagues down the road as we move forward.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. But yeah, I have another question. Okay, one thing I noticed about the music in the game, a lot of it's done by Mutant League Records. So, are you affiliated with Mutant League Records in any way?
No, and they actually, for the music in the game, we have an audio director. His name's Brian Schmidt. He's a brilliant guy, and he's been in the video game industry for many years. Everything goes through Brian, but with the music that's in the game, I mean, Mutant League Records has a number of artists that do music for us, but we have a variety of indie bands. So we're an indie development studio, and we figured we'd want to work with indie artists. We didn't have a big budget for this project, so we can't spend millions of dollars on music. So we work with indie labels and indie artists, and we try and find good fits. And so we have a wide variety of music, and a bunch of the music's also from our community. We have a lot of players, fans of the game, who are also musicians, and they send in the work. I listen to it. Brian listens to it. When we're both cool with it, it goes in the game if we can strike the right deal.
That's pretty cool. You know, one thing I noticed with the music, a lot of it is a good amount of punk and a little bit of metal stuff. So when searching for music, were you guys going specifically for that sound out of personal preference, or was it?
No. I base off the music based on the team.
Okay.
So I look at the music as part of what makes the teams unique. So each team has a theme song about it. So we have a variety of music, everything from kind of pop to classic rock to punk to heavy metal to like bluegrass for the Orcs of Hazard.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So there's not one particular style. It's like whatever style is going to work the best for the team. And it's just another way, along with the arena, the hazards, the characters that make up the team, to differentiate teams.
So I have another question. This is more like based on your experience in the industry. How has it been like being in? How do I put this? Going from working in like big AAA studios to being an independent developer.
Oh God, it's so hard. There are so many pluses and negatives to being an independent studio, but one thing that's definitely a con is always the struggle. Having to fight for the money and not having the type of budgets that you're used to. So for instance, working like say at EA, right? Like on Def Jam Icon, we had a huge budget. We had, I mean, probably just the budget for catering for all the hip-hop stars was more than the entire budget for Football League. Seriously.
Come on. Darn it, you know, originally I let you score that because I had a bribe and I wanted to troll you. But the bribe didn't work.
Well, I bribed the ref.
Darn it, you bribed him
right before
too.
that last play, right before that last play, I bribed the ref. Then I called a audible, which was the murder ball.
Oh man, darn it, I should have saw that coming. I just thought you just went murder ball. Did not see the bribe coming. See, that's why you're the one who made the game.
Oh, I get beat all the time by our community, so...
Yeah.
But if I'm not like blabbing the whole time we're playing and we're doing like a 3-minute game, I'll give you a run for your money. But there's players who play me, and it's just embarrassing how I get killed. But I play with those guys, and we record the games, and then I try to find like I try to analyze what they're doing, or like you and I are sitting here, we're talking. I'll play that against really good players who can beat me like 60-0, and then they tell me all their little tricks and what they're doing and their money plays and their exploits, and then we go back and we try and fix some of that stuff and clean up some of that stuff. Like one of the things you did to me when we were playing and I tried a murder ball, you attack my receiver, so you knock him on the ground, so the murder ball just kind of, he can't catch it. You move your guys away, and the murder ball's like completely not effective. So we had a lot of people doing that in tournaments and stuff. And now we're calling pass interference on some of that. Not every time, but if you've got a dirty trick that depends on the pass and somebody like interferes with your receiver, you're gonna more likely than not get a pass interference.
Ooh, looks like we're going to have to change things up then. But yeah, it was nice talking to you, Michael. It was very nice talking to you, and I'm sure the audience will definitely enjoy hearing this insight.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for the chat, and thanks for the game. It was fun, and, anytime you want to do this again, just give me a shout.
Mm-hmm. Well, this has been Sports Ball Gaming. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Give it a like, comment, thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next time.